Huh. Oof. Uh, Hello, everyone. We'll continue the program for the AI weekend. It's kind of relaxed afternoon, second day. I know we're kind of tired, but I need some energy from you guys. Come on, give me a clap, give me something. I know everyone's tired. I know everyone is a little bit, maybe hungover for those people that went to a party yesterday. There's another party today. But this really is a great panel, and I'm very happy you're all here. It's my honor to announce this. Let me read the title for you. Oh, is it here? No, it's not. All right, cool. It's here. Code, Cash, and Collapse. AI's great rewrite of the finance industry. AI wrote that. I just gave it a prompt, a really good prompt. I thought, who's talking? What are they going to talk about? Anyways, but it's a great panel, like maybe the most famous moderator in Croatia, Božidar Šil, really a good friend of mine I met a long time ago in Tokyo, fintech investor from Silicon Valley, and a recent, but also I would dare to say good friend, Victor, who is very close to us here in Croatia, who is Croatian by descent, but also CEO and chairman of CIBC. This really is a great panel, so Boža, please do run over time throughout the whole break. Maya's going to be super happy with that. And give them a big round of applause. Thank you.
Last night. So, thanks very much for coming up here to hear this panel. I think that we're not going to talk about anything that Nicola prompted to the AI. I have a whole set of different questions. Great. So without further ado, I don't think that the intro is really needed with my esteemed guests here. And I would like to start with a small provocation that usually my friends from banking hate when I do that.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
I will quote you a famous saying by Brett King, the Australian fintech guru, if you want. Mm-hmm. And he basically answered the question, why do we need fintech? We need fintech, he said, and I quote, because the banks are running on the 60s technology. It's a core mainframe. They're offering 14th century products like the current account, the accounts, and it has been authorized by a first century technology, which is a signature. Mm-hmm. So is it why we need fintech, guys? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's part of it. Like, I think for some people, those things kind of work fine. The 16th century technology works fine. But a lot of people it doesn't. And I think fintech, financial services, brought through technology allows you to reach a lot more people than you could with those 16th century technologies.
So banking is a lot more than transactions. Mm-hmm. People too often mistake banking with your ability to do something on a phone. That's a transaction. That's like traditional foundational banking. That he's right in that regard. And the banks, I think, are changing rapidly to adopt to a 21st century model. But banking on the other end, when you have created wealth, or you want to grow your company, or you have kids who don't know what to do with their money, or you have kids who marry other people who know what to do with your money, you need people on the other end helping them out, and you haven't seen a fintech yet that can help with that psychology. So there's two ends to banking. There's the transactional side, and there's the relationship and advice-based side. And that, in my mind, given all the human emotion involved with money, is very difficult to put machines in front of.
But the banks kind of lost that appeal to the younger generation. Why would the kids go to put their money to such a high street bank as yours, instead of doing something which is like completely digital?
Well, we have a digital bank. We actually set up a digital bank. It's got 2 million clients, and we actually arguably compete against ourselves. And we try to attract kids through that. And then as the kids acquire wealth and success, we try and move them to the mainline bank where they're their needs become more sophisticated.
Is it working? I mean, how
It's
many
working.
out of your like 18 million retail clients, if I'm not
13
mistaken?
million retail
13 million.
clients, 84% use our mobile banking, our digital. The Simply digital bank, all of them are digital. So I think it's working. I think it's working well. We've grown, we've doubled our market cap in the last 11 years.
Excellent.
We've brought retail clients on board. We've thought about how to lower acquisition costs. We've done a lot of that. And there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to do. In terms of what we're talking about today, things will change in the future, and especially in the next 5 to 10 years.
Do you worry about stuff like Wealth Simple in Canada?
Well, we have the kind of Wealth Simple equivalent. So I don't worry about them, but I tell my team, you have to pay attention to all these upstarts because they take a little bit here and there. And they'll take a lot over time unless we have a competitive offering, which we do have.
And Shil, talking about your fund, really, you're investing in fintechs, and the fintechs, I mean, not only in fintechs, but by the way, I like the name of your fund, Better Tomorrow. It's like in a proper Croatian fashion, like, better tomorrow, don't talk to me today. Yeah, so from that perspective, basically you're investing into companies that want to disrupt banks.
Not necessarily. I think, like, look, even the companies that want to disrupt banks ultimately are probably partnered with the bank. So I can give you some examples. We have a company called Unit. It's a banking as a service company, and they enable other companies, like SaaS companies, to become banks. So Toast is a restaurant point of sale system in America, quite popular. They actually have a banking product for restaurants that's powered by our portfolio company, Unit. But Unit also sits on top of established banks. So there are very few companies that actually are like really threatening all banks. There might be folks that are threatening large banks, but they have to partner with small banks in general.
Okay, but does that change anything into the equation, Victor? Usually in the past it was buy versus build. Now you could reuse the banking as a service from such companies, right?
Now we are much more buy, don't customize and buy. And then, to your point about legacy systems, actually AI is helping us with COBOL coding and upgrading as the talent pool dries up. And we will migrate off of that over time, but not right away because it still works.
Yeah.
It still works. It's like a hardcore machine where you're producing millions and millions and millions of transactions a day. You need a proven technology to be able to do that. But it's much, much more buy versus build. Even the foundational enterprise software, I mean, we just did Workday, SAP, Salesforce. We used an outside provider for our digital financial planning platform, all outside. And then what you do is you create a front end for clients that's engaging. And now what we're doing is we're going to work on I say this to my wife, the hardest part in the gym is to work on this. And that's what we're going to work on next, including myself.
Since you're about to step down from your CEO role after 11 years relatively soon, like in a month and a half,
Yeah.
how much trouble did the fact that AI is actually coming for your people AI is going to, at least AI proposition, is that we're going to replace most positions in the bank specifically, yeah? How does that make you feel since you're running a company of like, what, 50,000 people,
50,000 people. So I'm a big people person. Machines, technology, balance sheet all matters in our business. What matters most is how much you care about your people and how much you stand behind their backs. You will not hear me say AI is going to eliminate thousands of jobs. What I say is AI is going to make your job much more interesting here. And if your job changes or does get eliminated, we're going to work really hard to find you something else. And we better make sure we're hiring at the right pace so we're not over-hiring as things start to change. You don't want to scare people. People have families, people have jobs, people have mortgages, and the last thing they want to hear from the CEO is, your job's on the line. What you want to hear from the CEO is, I got your back, we're investing in the technology, your life will be better here, you're going to love working, you're going to run out of bed every morning.
I think we should repeat this panel at the HR weekend, the other. But Shil, do you agree with that? I mean, the part of the propositions you see, I'm sure, with the AI companies is that we will replace people with our solution.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, technology has the ability to make people more efficient. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean replacing people. So every generation of technology, people said would replace people. People said the spreadsheet would eliminate accountants, but actually there are way more accountants than there were back then, right? And so I largely agree, although I think there will be dislocations.
Yes, there'll be dislocations. Yeah, there will be.
And so there, I think in the long run, people will figure out what there is to do. Like, 120 years ago, we were all farmers, and then people have figured out, like, life has gone on. Humans are very resilient. I think there will be some serious dislocations, and I think in our business is helping build technology that helps people do their jobs more efficiently. And it's not only more efficiently, it's also better. And if you think about self-driving cars as an example of AI, right? I think most people in the world are surprised to hear that for more than 2 years in San Francisco, I've been driven by a car that doesn't have a driver in it. And I think, and that vision of a driver is the same as many other things in our life. And actually, it's very hard to get that one right, because if you get it wrong, people die.
Yep.
And yet, they've done it. And I think we're going to see that in many aspects of our lives. And there are a lot of aspects of our lives that are actually too difficult. You talk about people wanting to talk to somebody about their money.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people who you can't afford to serve.
I know, that's true, at the smaller balance level, right? So that's where you need.
And so there's an opportunity to serve them with technology. And businesses that start to serve the smaller folks end up actually being good for larger folks too. For example, myself, I moved almost my entire balance over to Robinhood. Robinhood started out for people with $100 in their account or whatever, free trading. But for somebody like me, it's actually now it still makes sense because the product is so good. It's so much better than what I was being offered by Schwab, even with private banking. I still decided to move my money over to it.
I think we can convert Shield to CIBC
All
Private
right, let's
Wealth.
do it. Let's do it.
We have an office in San Francisco.
Let's do it. Happy to talk to them.
I mean, it's all about the value proposition, right?
It's all about the value proposition. And for me, it's just so much easier to do stuff on my phone. And the customer service is better. Yep. Even though I had somebody I could talk to, it's actually easier for me to do it in the app.
Following on that topic of the companies that you're looking at, yeah, that might or might not disrupt the banks, how do you spot the difference in the companies that are using AI only as a very nice cellophane paper around their product, and the companies that are actually bringing some value to their product slash solution using AI properly?
I would say like all of our companies are using AI in some ways, right? Okay. So like either on customer service or on at least to help them code, right? And then there are companies that it's more foundational to what they do. And those are the AI companies. But I don't really care about the distinction that much.
Okay.
The ones that are AI companies are probably the ones that are seeing the fastest uptick. So for example, we have a company in the accounting space. It's called Basis. They sell into large accounting firms, and 20 of the top 100 accounting firms use it now. And by Q1, they'll be able to automate the entire amount of work that a junior accountant does. And that's useful in America because we have a severe shortage of accountants. So the CEOs of the accounting firms are telling me we can't hire enough people. There just aren't enough people for us to hire. Right. Because accounting is a very uncool job and nobody wants to be an accountant. And so this AI tool is able to actually do the work. And then we have other companies that are not necessarily AI companies. Like we have a company called DEC actually in Montreal. They previously had a company called Flinks. They sold to National Bank.
Flinks to National Bank, yeah.
Yep. And so what DEC does is they build like a plaid for everything. So you can get user permission data into somebody's utilities. It started out as utilities. When we invested, that's what it was. And then now they actually can get you access to everything. So one example is Justin Bieber makes sure that he gets his Spotify royalties using this product because a third party is using DEC to log into his Spotify and checks the royalties against what he thinks he's owed.
Interesting.
And so there's a bunch of different use cases. And so you might think this is not an AI company, but actually they use AI to get access to that account, and they're like 70 times more efficient than Flinks was. So these are AI. Every company is an AI company, effectively.
Okay. Funny you mentioned Justin Bieber because I have a question for you later on, later on the show, and you know what I'm referring to.
I know you're
But it'll be let's leave it as a surprise. Okay, so on a more serious note,
He was serious. He sounded serious to me.
no, the Justin Bieber part was not. On a more serious note, we had when we were preparing for this panel, we had a discussion because Croatians really like to talk geopolitics. And obviously, we shared some of our views and ideas, mostly the gentlemen here, about the future of the world in general regarding the next couple of months or years with everything that's going on in the US and in the rest of the world. I have a thought experiment for you guys. So we know that 2001 dot-com bubble really didn't take down lots of global economy. It was like kind of located to the dot-com economy. But the subprime crisis in 2008 did, because the banks were involved. So let's have this thought experiment is, what if we realize in 6 months from now that AI is a bubble, okay? Due to various reasons. It can be permanent because we saw that, or we will see that AI reached its plateau. For example, with the GPT-5, it's like trained on so much more data and it's not as effective as the previous versions were. So we might conclude that there's a plateau there. Or temporarily, if we realize that there's so much money that's been pumped into AI companies, into AI in general, cannot be really justified by the transformation AI will bring. So my question is easy, if we have those assumptions. My question is easy. Will the sudden write-off of data centers cause the new economic crisis in the world as it is right now? Is it really a danger?
Well, I don't know if it's a danger yet, but if we follow your hypothesis that all the money that's flowing into data centers, much of which is private capital, that's not off bank balance sheets. It's coming out of pension plans, coming out of insurance companies, coming out of family offices, university foundations. You won't feel the crisis, but you'll feel the economy slow down quite dramatically. You won't have the crisis of 08 and 09. The 08 and 09 crisis was a banking crisis. It was a liquidity crisis on banks' balance sheets, and therefore depositors would have been at risk. In this instance, they're not depositors. They're long-term investors with long-term liabilities, and pensioners will probably get less way down the road if it's a really
But all those companies that you mentioned, universities and investors, are also served by you guys, right? By the bank. So
yeah, but most of that stuff is off balance. I mean, we don't,
okay.
A lot of the stuff they're doing right now is coming from other sources, not just banks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least from that perspective, we're safe. Shil, what's your take?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be global catastrophe. I think, and I don't think it's going to be like a drop-off. I think it's like, I don't think the data centers are going to be useless. I think there's like, they might be overbuilt, and right now we're seeing a tremendous amount of building of data centers in the United States. But I don't I think there's value in having those data centers, and I don't think AI usage is going to zero, right? So like, you're still going to want a new frontier model. I agree with you. The new frontier models, like GPT-2 to GPT-3, felt like a huge difference. Yeah. GPT-4 to GPT-5. Like, not that much. Yeah. But that's true in our usage, but that's not true if you're like a researcher and building math models, or if you're a biologist. There is a huge difference. What you're talking about is what the consumer sees, and for us consumers, the models are already pretty damn good. Like, I can plan my trip in Rovine with GPT-5, and I don't think GPT-6 is going to be much different.
Okay, it's nice of you to have mentioned Rovine, because I want to see. I mean, it's great to hear your I would say global views and global expertise. But we're here, in the small country, in the small region. Do you see any interesting startups, interesting companies, interesting ideas that are originating from this place here? I know that Victor, you promised that you're going to spend more time in Croatia in the upcoming years.
That's my plan, yeah.
And I hope that some of the banks will hear what you're saying about the overall point of view. I know that you're a personal friend with some of the local bankers, and that's great. And okay, how do you see this region here? Can it be like like we said, we had South Asian tigers like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Can this region become a local tiger that could?
I think it can. I think it needs to. I think the issue with Croatia, and it's a beautiful country. I love the country. Too much focus on tourism. So much so that you can see it in the prices year after year after year. I've watched this over the last 10 years. It's unbelievable. I mean, you can go to some of the best restaurants in New York City, it'll be cheaper than it is in Croatia. So what's my point there? My point there is we need to actually get into other industries. And from what I can see, the young people here, they are entrepreneurs. They're thinking about how to solve problems. They're thinking like a whole new generation. And what I think is needed now is a mindset of capital coming to the country, and then a mindset of how can you take these ideas to a 380 million person market that's close by, and to another market in North America, and then Asia. You got to start really thinking beyond the smaller borders of this country. And I'm seeing that already with some of the countries, but some of the companies here, but it needs to be kind of proliferating. And the government needs to do everything possible to push ideas out to the rest of the world from here.
Great, that's a great message. Sheil, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. I think, actually, we didn't talk about this, but the last time I came to Croatia was 2008, and I was here, I was working with Intel Capital,
Yep.
and they said, find us what's going on over there. And actually, I found a company, it was called Zamanta, in Zagreb, and actually, I recommended that we invest. We didn't end up investing, but I think there are very smart people and talented people here, but it's a small market, and I think, you know, the folks at that time that I met, a lot of folks were focused on the local market, and I think you can't scale. You're not going to build a huge business that's going to attract great venture capital dollars. So I think you have to be thinking Europe and beyond.
And if you know, the capital markets matter. The capital markets in Europe are, you know, 4 generations behind the United States.
Yep.
And, you know, it might be a weird idea, but the Zagreb Stock Exchange could become the heart for technology stocks in Europe. Nobody thinks that way. Maybe some people do, but somebody has to have the vision to make it happen, and people like you will come with your money from America and start investing here. That's what'll happen. That's what happens.
I'll give you my phone number. Okay, on a lighter note, for the ending, just wanted to give you guys 2 trivia questions, and you could choose which one would you answer.
Okay.
So for Victor, please.
Yep.
Please, you should either share with the audience the anecdote of being a CIBC. Actually, Victor started his career as working as a teller in the CIBC branch.
Yes.
Yeah? Or you can choose to answer the questions about a certain basketball club in Croatia that used to be European champion, and you are hopefully helping out to survive to that club called Cibona.
I'll answer both.
Oh, great.
The basketball club is going to be on the rise. It's going to be a long journey, but it's going to be great. It all matters about how well you do on the court, and then everything else comes together after that. And, you know, we're excited about that. You know, in terms of CIBC and kind of my journey from CEO to teller to CEO, it's been an interesting one. You see things from a very real standpoint after working in the branch. You don't start off thinking I'm at the top. I will tell you that when it comes to AI, what we're doing, the way we're thinking about it, we're not scaring our people. We're motivating our people. We're telling them that everything that we save from doing this, we're going to invest in growth in the business so we stay ahead of the competition, and we can do even better when I'm not there over the next 10 years. That's how we're thinking about things. So I've answered both with great optimism.
Thank you. Sheil, 2 questions to choose from,
All
and
right.
I'm kind of hoping that you will answer both. First one is, how the hell did you end up in Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande video? Okay. It's called Stuck With You.
Yeah.
And the second question is, if you would be so kind to tell us about your Taco Bell sponsored metaverse wedding.
Yeah.
Can you mention, guys?
Okay, so the Justin Bieber music video, so it actually, there's an even better story because the way it happened is I was on a dating show. So I was
You're a participant?
participant. And I was at a dating show, and after the dating show, there's this guy named Scooter Braun. He was at one time the manager for Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande. He's the guy who discovered Justin Bieber. And I was talking to him about being on the dating show, and I was like, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm editing this video. There's this video coming out next week. Why don't you get in the video? And he said, just send me a video of yourself dancing. I'll put you in the video. And so I ended up in this music video with Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande. One fun fact is there's it won an MTV Music Award, a video, whatever, some video music award, and they announced all the names.
He
of the
just
people in
said
the
it
video.
by the way, you know, like.
And there's this long list of actual celebrities in the video, and then there's me. So if you go to the Wikipedia page of this award, there's like, do you remember the other celebrities in there? There's a lot of actual famous people, and then I'm the only one there without a Wikipedia page.
That's good. And what about the wedding?
The wedding. So my wife is here in the front row. So the dating show worked. We didn't meet on the show, but as a result of the show, one of her friends reached out to me and set us up. So, and then we got engaged, and I have a Twitter following, and I'm a fan of Taco Bell, this Mexican-ish restaurant in America, and Taco Bell had this contest. They wanted to sponsor somebody's wedding. And people said, hey, Cheel, this is perfect for you. You just got engaged. You should do this. So we made a video. We submitted it. And I think I had convinced her that we should submit a video because it would be fun to make a video, not because we would actually want Taco Bell to sponsor our wedding. But ultimately, they chose us. We had this Taco Bell-sponsored wedding. It was really fun. But we also had a series of weddings. We had 6 weddings that year. So it was one of 6 sponsored by Taco Bell. We became part of the Taco Bell family. They invited us they had these parties at the Super Bowl. They had all sorts of other stuff. But I think our time serving as Taco Bell spokespeople is probably over now. We haven't gotten a call in about a year.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. I'm really grateful
Thank you.
for this
It's wonderful.
panel. Please.